Good evening, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio and another Album Listen Challenge, where two panelists have challenged each other with albums they've not heard, attempting to either expose them to something new, something maybe they haven't listened to, or it's in their wheelhouse, or sometimes maybe it's completely off their radar. Each panelist will explain the album they were given, give us the genre of music and some prior expectations maybe they had before they even listened to it based on the cover. Maybe even some of the history it might have, talk about the artist. Then they'll dive into the album, what they thought about it from start to finish. Then they'll use a rating system, the album artwork 0 to 5, the album flow of music 0 to 5, the musicianship of the band and melody 0 to 5. Obviously the accessibility of it. Was it easy to listen to? Does it take multiple listens to get into 0 to 5? And then their actual overall rating. So the possibility is 25 points. While this is not a competition, it's still kind of fun to keep score. So tonight, let me introduce the panelists. Tonight, again, we have Jeffrey Johnson. Chef Jeff is returning for another challenge all the way from Hilo, Hawaii. And in this, he challenged my wife, Sue Kulagowski, who reluctantly accepted. So good evening. This should be a good one. Everybody ready?
We are.
Ready.
All right, so we had a coin toss and Jeff won again, but I got a feeling he wins all the time.
Pretty much.
So Jeff,
I bribed the announcer.
so Jeff, what album did my wife send you?
That's going to be a tongue twister. Philosopher's Kings. The name of the album is The Philosopher's Kings. I have never heard the album. I looked it up to get some premise of it before I started listening. I've listened to the album approximately 18 times now.
Wow.
I had a lot of free time here and there and work time. The album was good. I mean, beyond good, actually. I'm kind of amazed since I've joined this little posse of ours, how much I've learned about groups that I didn't know existed. My first take after listening to it for the first time was, my first snap in my head was, they sound just like the Manhattan Transfer, which is a 2-man, 2-women's group. I believe started out in New York City and stuff like that, with a jazz rock blend. Well, this has a jazz rock blend to it, with, I think, more jazz and rock in some songs. The band also reminds me a lot, especially in the writing style, of Billy Joe. I found the whole album very intriguing. I liked all the songs. I did not dislike any of the songs. They did a couple covers. They did, where is it? Just Like a Woman and No Woman Around. 2 very good songs, well-known songs. They did a very good job of it. Do You Swear was my favorite song of the whole album. I thought it was fabulous. I also enjoyed very much Turn My Head Around, which even though I don't think it was the headliner of the album, I think to myself was, I thought it was that type of catchy kind of music that you want to put on an EP or something like that. But wow, so I'll rate it this way. We'll make this short and sweet, because it was such a good album, and this will be definitely in what I'm going to listen to on a regular basis. So I've already started listening to other albums from them. I can't give much points to the album cover. It was maybe a 3 at best. It's very average. Some guy holding the guitar. But as everything else goes, literally everything else, so we don't just have to go through the one at a time. Everything else was a 5.
Nice.
An absolute 5. It was great. I mean, this is a really good. The progression was very good. God, I really tried to find something wrong with it. And with the exception of the album cover, everything else was perfect. I mean, Sue has introduced me to a band that's not only in my wheelhouse, because this is very much in my wheelhouse, but something that's new and innovative. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get much out of them because, according to what I can read, they disbanded in 2006. So so I don't think we're going to get much more out of them. But I really enjoy the stuff that I heard.
So I'll take it to Sue for a second as to why did you send Jeff that album?
So, well, first of all, I wanted to say, I think they got back together though, because we actually wound up seeing them in concert. I want to say it was around 2018.
Yes.
So there was a big gap, but I think they replaced a member or two and put out, I think it was called Return of the Kings. So I guess to jump back, the first song that I heard from them, I think, was Charms, probably in a nightclub. And I just love the sound. I love the feel. I love the piano. And then I don't know if Mark got me a CD or what, but it was one of the CDs that I brought with us to Hawaii when we started to go out to Hawaii. And it was kind of my pick to sit by the beach on a rock and just listen to the music. And I think I brought it every time we went. So that's what made me think of you. And I thought, well, maybe there's like a connection there. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I don't know. It's hard with the Canadian bands because there's so many great ones and so many of them just go unheard just across the border here, and they don't get anywhere beyond New York State. So there's a lot of bands out there you probably never heard of, similar to Philosopher Kings, but
Absolutely, I have. Gives Mark keeps sending them to me.
well, that's true. That's true.
I have my Canadian connection.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess. Oh, maybe my other show, my Canadian Connection, right?
So, but I will say, even after all those years, so that was, I think that album came out in 94. So I basically had to wait until about 2018 to see him live. And they were very entertaining, honestly. They were having a lot of fun up there. I don't know if you remember, Mark, but it was a good show. So
Yeah, good show. It was at the winery in Canada, Jackson Triggs, which
yeah.
has a great venue, and we've been there multiple times. I one of the things about the band, I always think they got a lot of soul, which is unusual for that type of music, right? A lot of soul interjection. So
Yeah.
with that being done in a score of 23, which is the highest so far this year, go to Sue and say, what album did Jeff send you?
Okay, so hopefully I say it correctly, but I was challenged to listen to Kwa by Orma Cohen, I believe. Am I saying that right?
You're close enough for horseshoes. You remember the J's are pronounced with an H in Spanish.
Orma.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I guess starting with the album cover, it's obviously it catches your eye. And I really honestly, it didn't really give me any idea of what I was going to be hearing. I'm gonna say, like, from the cover on through the music, I think everything kind of grew on me. Oh, and I wanted to mention though, because I wanted to do a little bit of research into it, and there are actually two album covers for this album. I don't know if this was the first or the original, or if the original was just the photo of Forma. But at some point in time, they took the cover art from the inside and they pulled it out front. So,
Correct.
yeah. So I think maybe this was the second cover. I'm not sure. but he's a nice looking guy, so I can see why they were trying to sell him. So basically, he made this album with, so it's a folk, kind of folk bluesy kind of album. He had originally made it with another folk artist, Tom Hobson, who I looked up a little bit. There are actually a few YouTube clips of him playing live, and Tom has a very distinctive voice. For some reason, from what I understand, they were going to give one side to Horma and one side to Tom. Something happened and they wound up pulling a lot of Tom and basically keeping him in a little bit. No idea why. I was able to find a few songs where they did collaborate and they actually sound really good together. So that's kind of unfortunate because I think they both bring something to it. But that said, I really enjoyed the album. It's really easy to listen to. Took me a minute because I don't normally listen to folk music. At least it's been a long time. But the songs, the guitar, I can't fault that at all. It's just precision and it's beautiful, and the guitar tells its own story. And then Horma's lyrics are, in some ways, I feel they kind of contrast to the guitar a little bit. He's a storyteller and he kind of intertwines it within the notes, which kind of keeps you wondering what is going to come next, and where the songs are going to lead. I would say I listened to the album maybe 3 or 4 times, only just due to time constraints. But every time I listened to it, I enjoyed it more and more as I got used to his vocals and just everything coming together. I also noticed, and I didn't have time to write it all down, but I can definitely tell that he's been a big influence on a lot of other artists. Just from a lot of the riffs I could hear, I'm like, oh, that sounds just like this. And there was one what was the word? Oh, I know it was. I think it was the band called Extreme that did More Than Words. There's one introduction that it's almost like note for note. It's the same
Wow.
thing. And I think I did, sorry guys, I had to do notes because I'm not used to doing this kind of thing. Song for the North Star is the one. It has a beautiful introduction and it immediately like clicked, and I had to go online and that was very similar. Another really good song that I enjoyed was Blue Prelude. This was actually a collaboration between Hobson and Horma. I wrote down some words, like it was a bit haunting and sad and tormented. Really beautiful. And that one I would say leaned more towards the blues than some of the other ones. I'll Be All Right was another one that I really enjoyed, and it kind of reminded me, I just finished, finally, I was a little bit late to the party, but the series This Is Us, and I could totally hear that kind of a song as being played during a show like that. That show kind of, if you didn't watch it, it kind of jumped back and forth between decades. So it started around like, I think this late 60s, early 70s. So it had a very familiar sound to it. I love the song Genesis, and Midnight in Milpitas, I think I wrote down. Was another one that was an instrumental. I could probably sit and listen to him just play the guitar all the time. It's very relaxing and enjoyable, and again, it's just he hits he doesn't miss a note. So I would definitely listen to this. I think Mark, you would probably enjoy it too. It's definitely a stretch from what I've been listening to lately, so it was kind of a nice change of pace. Ratings wise, so the album I gave the album 4, just because it's just fun and kind of funky and something different. And considering nobody even does album covers anymore, it was nice to see one. Again, I was trying to figure it out, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
either. No idea.
But
Nobody
I just
does.
I just enjoyed it. The album Flow, I gave a 5. It's the songs, you can tell, same source, but they're each one is different. Each one is unique, and he brings something into each one. The musicianship, I gave a 5. It's just consistent. Can't complain about it. Accessibility you had, it may be a little bit harder to find. I mean, not so much. Now you can find almost anything if you look hard enough, but if you're looking for CDs, I did a little digging on that, and it was a limited printing of those. There's some vinyls on eBay and Amazon. So it is out there. People are still buying it, listening to it. Overall rating, I give it a 5. Yeah, it's something now that the pressure's off of me having to try to like critique it, I can kind of kick back and relax, and I think enjoy it a little bit more. I tend to get caught up in trying to like analyze things. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I've listened to the album. He's a finger picker by trade,
Mhm.
for sure. And I want to emphasize that for viewers is that it's folk, it's blues, and it's expertly done, but in a different, way, because it's not that electronic, you know what I mean? It's acoustic.
Right.
Part.
It's folk rock. That's basically the genre that he puts
Yeah.
himself in.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little background on him. I have seen him 7 times in concert tour. He is known, what he's most known. Matter of fact, this album, the reason I gave it to Sue, this is his first solo album, period.
Mhm.
He's always either been with, he was originally with Jefferson Airplane,
Mhm.
and then he moved from them to Hot Tuna, which not only is he with them, he's still with them.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I just learned a few minutes ago before we got on to recording is that they'll be playing in your neck of the woods this weekend. So
Oh.
yeah, Geneva, New York.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Finger
cool.
Lakes. You were out there with us.
Yeah, you guys could go check it out.
Yeah. It must be
Me
playing
too.
one of the Geneva Theater, maybe.
He's playing in let me look. Smith Center for the Arts.
Okay. Look it up.
Yep, on the 27th of this month.
Very cool.
Yep,
cool.
acoustic, all acoustic.
Nice. That'll be, I'm sure Qua will be in there.
Yeah. Well, he's it's original band. Maybe the
Yeah.
last time this year to see the original band. There's some really heavy duty people in the band. So he I think he's very good by himself. I think he's better with a mainstream band like Hot Tuna or the Airplane. So I'm just glad you liked it.
Yeah. Yep, that was nice.
Um,
Well, and again, like I said, I mean, yeah, there's endless songs by him. I kept being knocked into other albums. So, but again, the collaboration with him and Tom Hobson was, as you were saying, like playing with different people, it did bring out different aspects of him too. So, definitely worth a listen.
He's foremost a guitarist.
Yeah.
Foremost a guitarist. And that's what he's done in his roles. Like he can sing, but his role is lead guitar. How? Since he's been playing, he's been a performer professional for nearly 50 years. So he's definitely I I actually got to see him in those. He likes doing little towns. He did Hilo about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
If you guys can arrange it, you guys should really go. You'd be blown away.
Yeah, be nice.
Nice.
So I did the tallying, and I don't know how we keep doing this, but so Jeff scores at 23 for Philosopher Kings, and Sue scores at 23
Huh.
for Qua. So
That's because we both have very good taste.
There you go.
you know, it's good. What I loved about this is that wheelhouse, right? What you said, Jeff, is the reason we do these shows, is like, gosh, how did I not know this? And that's always the fun part. Like, man,
Absolutely.
how did I let this go by?
How,
And even
how have I
some,
not known of them?
right.
go?
So even someone of, me who tries to listen to everything is an idiot, but there are bands I don't know about. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, and that'll come up later on in these shows. So I want to thank my panelists for doing this tonight. This was fun. I hope the challenge exposed some new music. Obviously, for the two panelists, it did. We'll do this again in another week. Every other week, we're doing this for another two panelists. I know I've been challenged by Jeff to do one, so I got to get a host, but we'll figure that out. I haven't sent him my record yet. So we're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our Patreon options when they're available. They're not out yet. More new shows coming, plenty of articles and stuff on the website. Check out Music Bites by Mr. Johnson there below us. And happy listening, everyone.
Cool.